I've been preparing for this, thinking about this. It's just like, it took so many goals blowing up in my face and not happening for like this to actually work out, to where this was kind of like my ultimate goal was when I graduated from Notre Dame College, double major in English communications, double minor in psychology and writing. I was president of student government for 2 years. I was editor on the newspaper for 2 years. Was captain on the track team. I got like the Who's Who award when I graduated. There's like Kappa Gamma Pi, which is like the National Catholic Honor Society. So like, I was just kind of, I was like, man, my resume, just wait till the world sees it, you know? And I walked across the stage, and for whatever reason in my mind, I'm like, oh, there'll be just businesses lined up out the door, like just waiting for my resume to come work for them. But yeah, there's no job, and it was very disheartening. So that's where like, you are definitely not alone in being like, and this is, I mean, you're only a freshman, you're only a freshman, but you have a senior mentality. For you to be here right now and to also be like, chemistry, it's super hard, let's do it. Like that mentality, like one of the things we're trying to do in the Cleveland area is we're trying to set, nationally through the firm that I work for, we're the number one district. It's like the Cleveland district. So the number one district in the country, in what our specialty is, and we're just trying to really continue to set ourselves apart. But one of the things that, like, when I was thinking about coming here, and I was thinking about what we're trying to do, with our firm in the Cleveland area, is looking for people that they wake up every day and they're like, give me the worst scenario, and I'll still get you the best results. So like that's where, give me the hardest class. Rugby, it's intense, man. Soccer, same thing. So do you play any sports, right? Rugby, okay. So rugby and soccer takes a lot of coordination, a lot of practice, a lot of skill, a lot of years. It's not like you just showed up here and like, okay, I'm the best. Like, yep, give me that scholarship, give me that, so that this next chapter in life, so that's when I promise we'll get the goals, but just understand you're never alone. It will feel that way a lot. But if every goal, every dream came true, like the ones that you do accomplish would mean nothing. I feel like just being able to be here with you today, like if I could do a backflip, I would. This is my dream come true, is to come back and just kind of share, hey, here's all the things I screwed up, here's what I learned, and then literally say, hey, I'm passing the baton to you now, Notre Dame for life, So does that make sense? Yeah. So the SMART goals, so Katie was explaining just kind of how like the SMART goal is kind of part of the intro to college class. Is that, maybe you didn't get it?
No, I didn't get it.
You didn't get it? All right. You just came off the plane. They're like, yeah, no time. Let's go.
We didn't have my freshman year. Well, considering my freshman year here, we didn't really have the FYS class.
Okay.
So it wasn't really.
You just might not have gotten it yet.
Yeah.
So.
You will. Oh, you will. You will get SMART gold. So.
Because they teach FYS.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, because my freshman year, it wasn't like that yet.
Yeah, and that's where wherever you end up, you're gonna look back and say like, oh man, I didn't have that, and it's weird now being like the older guy. Like I'm starting to like, I got a son now, and I'm just like, and I was coaching track and cross country for a little bit at my old high school, and I was like, oh, kids these days, they just don't understand how to, and then like. Talking to you guys like, oh, college kids, they don't care, blah, blah. Like, it's so easy to just look back 10 years and be like, oh, I wasn't like that. But we're all, it just understand, again, that it's all about embrace. The best way I kind of heard it put is like, play life like a video game. Go to like the hardest spot of the level, like whatever level you're on, find the hardest place and just keep going. Like don't, just, as long as you have continuous life, don't do anything, don't really die. But so just keep attacking, the hardest part, because then it means the most. So that's where too, like if you become a diesel mechanic, or something else happens in communications. If you're so pre-med, you're going to be a doctor of some sort. So let me ask you this pop quiz: if you never became a doctor, would the world end? Would life be over? Okay. Same, if you go back, and it ends up that soccer, like, you don't have anything to do with, you get into your career or business, whatever you're doing, and just for whatever reason soccer isn't in the cards. Like, is life over?
No.
But so that's where when we're going over this, so we'll start with, so SMART stands for something. My wife's in human resources at Avery Dennison. They use this all the time. Pretty much any organization that is slightly successful, most of them are going to talk about, well, what's your SMART goal? So it's good to know this, and it's good to be, I YouTube this to like everything's on YouTube. Google, YouTube, everything's there. So specific. So when you're thinking about, okay, what's next for me? So like getting specific as possible. That's where I'm going to kind of walk through this, but also kind of give you my 2 cents of how I make it make sense in my mind. So my goal is to give you as much ammunition to go battle the goals, but take what I say and be like, all right, that made sense. I'm going to apply it. This makes no sense to me. Just don't worry about the stuff that doesn't make sense. Just forget it and just move on to what does. Does that help? So specific. That's the difference between a dream and a goal, to me. Okay, so the S is specific. So do you guys have pens? You have writing utensils? So just write down specific. This is going to be interactive.
Sam, you have another pen?
I do.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I forgot
A
it.
highlighter too. If you want
Oh, dang. All right.
to highlight something,
I love highlighters.
That's what happens when you have teammates.
That's right. We're a team here. We got this. Notre Dame for life. So specific. So M is measurable. So and we'll get more into this, like kind of mapping out your life, so like, Sam, you are hopefully going to graduate December, right? And by hope, you're being humble, you're going to graduate. Measurable. So in school, it's like, okay, Evan, Lexi, Sam, do these 5 things by these 5 dates, and you pass go. You go to the next level. Does that make sense? When you go back home and you're trying to figure out next steps, when you go back home, figure out next steps, 4 years from now, whatever it is, where you're trying to find out next steps, the problem is, and seriously, like I wasn't diagnosed, but I was pretty I would say depressed. I was just so defeated when I graduated, and I didn't I'm like, well, where's this job? And it was my fault, you know what I'm saying? It was my fault that I wasn't going on a bunch of different job interviews. I had a whole bunch of, other stuff going on. But, so that's what I'm saying. It's just, I'm here to help you, just if you find yourself in a hole, help you dig out of it, okay? But the measurable, you have to, so in that folder, 1 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, 10 plus years. In my book, I talk about having a 50-year life plan. It sounds crazy. The former president of Shell Oil Company told me to do that, I think I was like 27, 28. I thought he was crazy. But then, so like 50 years from now, Evan, how old will you be?
Geez, 23, or 73. Sorry.
73, all right. And you'll be how old? 68.
76.
76, okay. So let's just fast forward. You're that age. It's with the life expectancy of your generation, my generation, hopefully we'll live to 100 and all that, but when you put it in that perspective of okay, when I don't have time anymore to figure things out, or if I'm at the end of the road and I never really did what made me happy, and I never really did what challenged me, I never really did what I meant to do, because that's what I kept telling myself. And before this happened, I was like, man, so I was 28, so I'm like, I'll be 78. I'm like, I might be dead. Like this, both my grandfathers died before they were 78, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, so all the books I was gonna read and all the things I was gonna do, it helps if you can see the end, then the decisions you're making right now, tomorrow, next week, start to get way easier. You know what I mean? Like, so like it's, the tough decisions aren't tough when you know what you want out of life. So like, I knew that I wanted to come back and speak. I wanted to be a public speaker, I'm the cheesy motivational guy, always, okay? So I wanted to be some type of motivational speaker. I didn't know about what. Now that I'm in finance and business, I want to speak about finance and business and help people, learn those things. So my goal was, when I did that 50-year life plan, I was like, all right, 55. By 55, I'll be speaking in colleges, high schools, whatever. And it started happening 4 years, so I was 30. And I got the first kind of like, hey, can you come speak at this leadership summit? We did a leadership summit at Lake Erie College a few months ago. And it was just crazy, it was just cool. Just like all these high schools came in. Now we're doing one at Youngstown State. Jim Tressel's gonna so I'm the first speaker, so it's not like Jim Tressel knows who I am, nor does he care who I am, but like Jim Tressel's gonna introduce me. So like those are like kind of the cool opportunities that are just starting to roll along. But 4 years ago, because I knew what I knew, I had measured what I wanted out of life. That allowed me to not hesitate as to like, oh, I don't know, I have time. So like I literally, when Katie reached out, and I didn't care what day it was, I didn't care what time it was, I'm here, count me in. Does that make sense? So like really, when you're measuring, it's not just the goal, it's putting into perspective how you're gonna work backwards, and when this like, well, do I answer this phone call or do I drink this weird water I just found? Kind of like, it just, you're able to kind of see through the pressure of the moment. Right now, like especially you two, it's very hard to see through the pressure of, well, hey man, you're a senior, you're graduating, you should have your life figured out. Nobody has their life figured out. Like I'm still trying to figure that out, you know what I mean? So like, there's a lot, it helps you cut through the nonsense and through the noise of what you should be doing versus what you are going to do and you were born to do. Does that help? So, all right, the A, so we write measurable? I can't speak. A, I've seen it multiple ways. Actionable is how I like to say it. Because my cheesy phrase is action is the best medicine. So again, if you feel stuck, again, take action in a positive direction. Don't do bad stuff. But action, if you take action on something and you can work your way out of whatever funk you're in. Okay. It's also, you're going to hear it called, you can write this down, attainable. So actionable, attainable, or achievable. So I can spell check. I was an English major and I used to spell everything wrong. Poor Sister Eileen. Sister Eileen is the best professor. So again, talking about things that are impossible and hard. Grammar workshop, I thought I was going to die. And luckily my roommate at the time got me through it. He helped me because he did it in like elementary school. I'd never seen like doing all these sentences, breaking down into branches and stuff. But Sister Eileen, as a freshman, I thought she was out to get me. As a senior, I ended up getting like the Excellence in English Award. Like that, personally, that's like one of my favorite awards because that was the one I had to fight the hardest for. But Sister Eileen, as a freshman, I thought she was out to get me. Sister Eileen, as a senior, I'm like, she's the greatest professor to ever live on planet Earth, because she just would not accept mediocrity at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were certain days when you weren't feeling so good, maybe sit out, too many video games, too much partying the night before, but she always pushed you to be your better self, okay? So, actionable, attainable, achievable. Is it realistic that you can go be a diesel mechanic? And it's realistic that you could be a doctor, a pre-med, right? And it's realistic that you could go in that barn and build some really cool stuff. Or you can go coach soccer or speak to soccer teams, right? Mm-hmm. So the vision you have for your goals and your life, like it's obtainable, it's achievable. But again, it's working back to in what time, and we'll get more into this, what time frame, how do I measure? If I do it by the time I'm 30, am I happy? If I do it by the time I'm 80, am I happy? And then again, specific, like, okay, what school am I going to go to first? What class am I going to take? what med school am I going to apply to first? You know, what, and then you said there's a school in North Carolina, so you know, what department do I talk to first? So just like narrowing it down to the simplest thing based on what the high level goal is. R, if you want to write this down, is relevant. So for me, this will be our next thing. It's a little cheat sheet that I have that I use personally that'll help clients if they're trying kind of like stuck on multiple goals. So like, again, you have multiple things you can do, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Communication, you can do anything. Bio, you can do anything. Like, okay, there's all these goals. How do I narrow it down? So relevant, I don't like that word, but that doesn't change the fact that you need to know that. And it's basically kind of helping break down. So if I have 3 goals, which one's first, which one's, you know, ranking, you know, I would say, you know, relevant or ranking your goals. But I see it as prioritizing goals, okay? And then the T is time bound. So again, circling back to when you're trying to, you know, can you measure it? Can you count it down? For you right now, graduation, I'll get there. For you two, graduation is like work, school, class, right? Just like it's all hands on deck, and you're just like, oh, I'm really enjoying being out at sea right now. This is kind of neat. Ooh, a wave, you know. So, because for you two, the pressure's on, right? You're just, oh, I'm just a freshman. Who cares? So, and then whatever. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like having that life plan. So even start with the next 5 years or the next 10 years, and it really the time bound part to me, that's the most important, because I'll get to the next section where how I personally will take multiple goals and just run them through this and figure out what's the most important. Does that make sense? Any questions on SMART goals? Even if you don't want to know them, get to know them, because you're going to hear them again. There's going to be some manager or some speaker or somebody like, yo, SMART goals. Yes, you got to know your SMART goals. And you're just going to, if you can rattle this off, you're the genius in the room. Does that make sense? All right, so next one. So my goal to remember. So G is goal. Let's write that down. Super surprising. So what we'll do, if you're okay with it, is I'll walk you through what each section is, and then if you want to, we can kind of do a sample goal and just see how it would work in real life. So the G is goal. So the G, that's your number one purpose. What's your goal? What's the number one thing you want to do? Plus T, which is time. And again, to me, the time frame, that's the most important factor for anything, especially in finance and business. The best decision for a 10-year plan is the worst decision for a 1 year. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if the time frame is wrong, that's the difference between looking like a genius and going out of business. So, and then R is risk. So goal plus time plus risk. So this is like algebra, right? Math, super cool. Equals A is answer. I'm super fancy. So really, that is the answer should be a reflection of the goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I'm talking about like what decision is next, should be a direct, exact mirror reflection of what is the mission, what is the goal. So does anybody want to volunteer a goal?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
Or it could be anything.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I have a lot of goals, but I guess I'll take one at a time. So I guess my goal would be to graduate first.
Okay. So graduate. So the goal, so you would write graduate here, right? Plus time. So what time frame are you trying to graduate?
In May.
In May. Okay. So, all right, cool. So we know the time. What's the risk? So if you graduate, what's the risk? I mean, like, what bad can happen if you graduate in May? Okay, but
yeah, I really don't know.
so this is kind of an easier one where it's like there's no real like bad,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
I guess the only thing that really could be bad is if I don't pass all my classes to graduate.
Right. So the risk, yeah. But if so, think again. We're looking at what if my goal comes true? Because remember, goals achieved become responsibilities, and goals achieved that we didn't really think out, and there's because you can achieve. Can you not achieve a goal? And now it's this huge responsibility. So like for me, I have a 18-month-old. That's a huge responsibility. And I would love to think that James Schleicher, who was in Notre Dame College, would have been a great dad. But you talk about having a family now versus when my wife has spent a lot of time helping me become an adult and not to be such a I'm not saying it like it's I've had to mature personally to where now it could have been great. I could have graduated a year early instead of going that 5th year, and I may have missed out on the opportunity that I have now, that I love what I do. So there's always a risk, even if you hit the goal. Does that make sense? A lot of people are so focused, and same thing for me. I had this goal, I'm gonna be successful no matter what, nothing's gonna stop me, I'm gonna work every hour, every day. I achieved a level of success that I thought was gonna be like, once I hit here, I'll have no problems, no worries, I was the most miserable I had ever been in my entire life because I didn't think about, well, I had gained all this, but I had lost all of that. Does that make sense? So graduation, there's way worse things that can happen than delaying graduation, but there's no real like, hey, you graduated now. Like you're just on to the next phase. You're moving on to the next chapter, but it's not like a bad. There's not really any super bad outcome. So the risk, there's really not a lot of risk. So that's good. Okay. So the answer is, should I graduate or should I not graduate? Should graduate, right?
Graduate.
So all right, cool. My goal is to graduate. The answer is, do it. Okay. So anybody else want to volunteer a goal?
I will.
Okay.
I want to publish a book in 2019.
In 2019?
Yeah.
Okay. So the goal is publish a book. The times
By the end of the year.
by December 31st, 2019. Correct. So what's the risk if you don't?
If I don't do it?
Yes.
If I don't do it, wasted time, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, I can still publish it after that, so it won't necessarily be wasted time.
Can I call time out real quick?
Yeah.
So wasted time. That's Sam talking Sam, right?
Yeah.
That's Sam hating on Sam for not hitting the deadline, right? Because I am a self-proclaimed goalaholic. All right. So that's where the three of you have achieved a lot already, and you're at this leadership lunch. There's something in you that drives you. So Sam, if you published it in February 2020, you'd be mad at you, but would you two be impressed, right? Did you publish a book?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'd be like, Sam, you published a book?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm just saying, be careful. Like, what's the risk? Is again, you gotta hit certain deadlines, but a lot of the deadlines that hurt us, that drive ourselves insane, is the ones we're putting on ourselves. And if you want to jot this down, there's a book called The Ego is the Enemy, or Ego is the Enemy. It's probably one of my favorite. It helped me a ton. So that's what I'm saying to you three as a friend, as someone who's been in your shoes, as someone who has achieved things and been looking back and like I wasn't glad I achieved it, but I put a lot of unnecessary pressure. So like in that book, one of the things I took away is just like most of the time you're trying to you're trying to outdo yourself, you're trying to impress. It's not you're like necessarily consciously trying to impress yourself, but that's where it's like, you know, when I published my book, a lot of people were like, "Oh, dude, that's amazing! How'd you do that?" And then because I did it, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, "Well, I published it." You know, like I was trying. So I published it in March. I was trying to publish it a year early. So like, I wasn't able to be happy about publishing my book because, again, it was one of 27 things I was trying to accomplish. But you know, like, so that's where just again, I'm not saying don't do it. And will the two of you support him and push him to publish by December 31st, 2019? All right, and so will Dave. Dave will not leave you alone, right? No? Yeah? Eat pizza.
I guess I'm having trouble understanding what you mean by like risk if I don't do it, because I know the risks if I do it, but if I achieve it, but if I don't do it, I'm struggling.
So the risk if you don't. So the first one is just like just hate, like self-hate.
Okay.
That's something that, again, motivated, goal-oriented people will hate on themselves. Like it's just, there's so many thoughts that run through your mind that are just attacking you're walking through the halls and you're just attacking, like, you should have got a better grade on that, or you should have, why'd you say that? You know, like just, it's never ending. So that's all, like sometimes the risks are more extreme, but like, so I'm just trying to bring that up, you know, so I'm just using that situation as a sample to bring up the general topic. So what's the risk if you do? So you publish it, then what?
The biggest thing, I think that at least that I'm scared about is now I have a piece of content that my name is on that anybody can now read, so it's a reflection of me and who I am. So I think the risk is, you know, does it properly reflect who I am and whatnot? It's something that my children and grandchildren, you know, can read and you know, be like, oh, that's, you know, what he did. So I think that's the biggest risk that I think about is the biggest risk.
Is the person you are on December 31st, 2019, is that you forever, or is that just you in that moment?
In that moment.
So George Phillips, when I was in the process of publishing my book, he was just like, who cares, man? You just make like a second, third, fourth, fifth edition. I'm like, well, I want it to be perfect. You know, so like, again, like the perfectionist, it always wants to have the thing that, you know, it's perfect. That's I go back and read my book. I'm like, oh, this is right on point. But like, there's certain things that I go back and I'm like, oh, I should have said that. So what's cool is you're reinventing yourself. You're redefining your life every single time. So, but yeah, man. I mean, and I feel like it's your gift to the world. Here's what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
If it helps you, fantastic. And so unless you're like trying to viciously sway people in some crazy direction that's going to ruin their life, can that really, everybody's going to have their opinion, right? Even if you're right, someone will find a way to make you wrong, right? Well, this article online says that, whatever.
Right.
So no, if it's your truth, then let it be. So, but no, that's cool. So like, does that make sense too? Like even right now, like, in talking about a reflection of you, like writing a paper, taking a test, or even just like have you ever like turned in a paper and then you got it back and you're just like, well, that was a terrible reflection of me. That's not that. Whatever grade I got, that's not me. Or you like have this like it's a constant conflict. So, well, cool. No, I mean, is this helping at all? Like, I'm not. It's when you publish it, you're all the time going to be questioning, like, is it exact? But two, that's what's going to make the three of you great. Is you're never satisfied with where you are today. So you just gotta pat yourself. The three of you won't pat yourself on the back, so that's why you gotta be like, like it's okay, buddy. It's like, cool, man. Keep it up. So the answer, should you publish your book?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and then you made the comment about this is something that like family, friends, kids, grandkids. Do you have any kids right now? So that was one thing that was cool for me, is that there's so much I want to teach my son that he can't understand right now. But if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, this is what Dad would have wanted, and I still get worked up every time I like even think about it or talk about it, or like, you know, 'cause it takes guts. It takes guts, you know. So whatever the three of you do, it's gonna take guts to follow. So a diesel mechanic, right? Diesel mechanics make a lot of money. They do very well. However, the kind of the general norm, and it's not just here, it's not just North Carolina, it's just a societal norm. It's like, you're a mechanic, dude, you went to college. What are you thinking? Right? That'll be a generic, knee-jerk that comes back. My grandma was crying. I remember I moved into her basement, and I told her, like, Grandma, I'm gonna take a risk, right? I'm gonna go into business for myself. And she started crying. She's like, and now I didn't know that, hey, I'm coming right, it's like January 08 when I started. So I didn't know it was the second worst time period ever. I didn't, these four walls is all I knew. I didn't know, but just crying. And so I love my grandma. She wanted what was best for me. She said, why can't you just use your degrees? So had I just used my degrees, I think I'd be doing all right. I'd be successful. But like I would like never leave your own answers on questions, or saying your own questions on answers. Like it's very hard, especially when like family and friends are telling you, like, you know, come on, but what's cool, your communications major. How many mechanics aren't able to communicate how you can communicate? You're a college athlete, professional athlete, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
So you're still professional, right? You playing overseas? Okay. So everybody's like, dude, you were this, and now you're over here doing this. And so it's normal for people to question what they don't understand. And it's not about, they don't have to understand it. You can use your communications. Not many mechanics are going to be team players. In my industry, in my world, it's like everybody's running around stabbing each other in the back. Everybody's me. Cut through. I'm one of the few people that, now I still get stabbed in the back. I mean, there's a lot of times I'll lie awake at night and be like, why am I just not looking out for myself? Like, you'll start to question things when you're getting out and doing whatever you do, but you'll be able to, if you want to move up to management, very quickly, because you are a proven star performer, team player, and you can communicate. And next thing you know, maybe you're a diesel mechanic, but now you're in sales because you know how it works. You can speak the language, but also two, you can work with people. So same thing, like I know nothing about soccer. So if I'm out trying to sell soccer balls, like that's how ignorant I am, is like, I'm like, soccer balls, like they're really, like I know nothing, So for, so that's where too, like sales gets a bad name, but it's because there's a lot of bad people doing it for the wrong reasons. So, but like, even too, like getting into medical sales and all that, it's just, all it is, if you believe in the product, you believe in the service, but it comes down to your ability to want to help that person no matter what happens. So there's a lot, when they're talking about you can do anything, think of it more that way, is you can be thrown into any situation and you can use everything you learned here, all the relationships, like the relationships I built in Notre Dame, hands down, it was worth the cost of tuition times a million. Like you use your social capital as you build your financial capital. Social capital is just basically the three of you are insanely wealthy just knowing each other. Does that make sense? So, Have I rambled on enough? So the biggest thing, so goal, time, risk, answer. To give you a quick sample is one of my business partners, his goal, so there's what's called the $1 Million Roundtable, or MDRT. That's just, you hit a certain level in our industry and you're top 6% in the world, which is cool. So this will be my 5th year doing it. He's trying to hit it for the first time. Conversation we had with this is, okay, you hit this, what's time? Obviously, you want to make it happen this year. The risk is, so he's got a 2-year-old daughter, another baby on the way, and a wife. So this is my challenge to you: is never forget what really matters, because and to my mom's credit, my mom just beat this in my brain. It's like, no business success is worth family failure. Okay, and whatever that means to you, take it and put it into action. But the biggest thing for him is, okay, well, whatever it takes. So I'm going to work weekends. I'm going to run 2 extra meetings a week, and I'm going to work late, and I'm going to, I'll make more calls. Or it just so we're talking about the risk. He could hit his number 1 goal, be top 6% in the world in what he does, and he could lose his wife, and he could lose the relationship with his kids. Does that make sense? So that's where, again, this is more just to a funnel, a filter, to just basically say, hey, I'm thinking about this. The risk is what nobody pays attention to, because just it's you think of, oh, I hit my goal, that's a good thing. If he hits that goal in the wrong way, then it's over. You can't go back. Does that help? Make sense? All right. Doing all right, Dave? All right, Katie, how we got to wrap? 1 o'clock. All right. Do you guys have 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, sweet. So, all right. Thank you, Katie. All right. So, hey, thank you for, and like I'm trying to bring as much of the drop kick to the face that life gave me outside of college to you, just to, again, prepare as much as I can. So be a star, break a leg. So you heard the term break a leg. All right, I try to keep things as cheesy and stupid as possible. So break a leg, just think L-E-G. So this is, okay, I got my SMART goal. And I put it through the goal to remember, okay, which is my top goal that I have to remember, that I've weighed the risks, this is the one that I have to hit. Okay, and also the time-bound thing, if going back to college isn't such a worry if I have 4 years to complete it. It's a huge worry if I have 2 months, right? So again, the risks and the time. When it comes to actually in the moment making the decision, okay, here's my goal, here's what I want to do, here's my vision. This how I do this all the time, because I'll be running scenarios through my head. Okay, all right, I'm going to talk to so and so. We're going to say this. I'm going to recommend that. I'm going to be here. I'm going to go there. The first one, so break it LEG. So break your logic. So write that down. Especially as college-educated individuals, we will find ways to outthink ourselves. But also, 2, have you ever done something that you knew was wrong, even like not cleaning your room when you were little? Just like, have you ever found a way to create a scenario in your mind to make a bad decision seem good or sound good? It's okay, I'll just say it this way, so that way it won't seem so bad, okay? You have to break through your and same thing with logically, you should take your resume and only go to a communications major and only go to biology major and only, you know what I'm saying? So like logically, you should just follow your resume. Follow the syllabus. So just kind of do what you're supposed to do. But you have to be careful not to outthink yourself. Does that help? So if you're overthinking, or you're creating scenarios that to make a poor decision seem okay, you got to break through that. You got to break your emotion. So you want to write this down too. Keith Cunningham is the author. I'm listening to the book right now. It's called The Road Less Stupid. And he's one of the best business people in the world, but he's definitely the best at breaking it down into like normal language, I guess. But he always talks about like business is an intellectual sport, not an emotional sport. So like have you ever been angry, furious about something, blurted out what was ever emotionally charged, just in the moment, and that person was like, wow, that you really thought that out, and that was a really nice comment that you just made. Has it ever ended well when you're acting in anger or Another question. So graduation, right? High school graduation. That's recent. So prom, they put the smashed up car and say, don't drink and drive, and all. So emotion on the anger, on the negative end, but also too letting your emotions make you feel like if you're in the best mood and I'm graduated, I am top of the mountain. For me, it was like finally like hitting, top 6% in the world. Like you always have to catch yourself feeling invincible, because why do people get in trouble on the last day of school? It's like you have one more day, man. You got one more day, and you found a way to have to come back to summer school or get expelled, whatever. It's just because you can be so happy that you don't feel like the rules apply anymore. Does that make sense? So you got to break your logic, break your emotion, and break through. G is gut. So break through to your gut. Or parentheses, you want to put instinct or whatever you want to call it. And this goes back to the diesel mechanic, the pre-med that's going to attack chemistry, and the speaker, author, soccer guru. I keep bringing up soccer just because I'm like, I can only take it that far. I'm like, it's a sport. It's awesome. I love FIFA. It's a great video game. So your gut, you know what you want. So you're gonna overthink it. You're like, well, I can't do that because da 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 da. Or I should do this da da da. Or you're saying like you can't let the logic and the emotion of the situation, because emotion too is like family, friends are telling you you're an idiot. Like you start to take it like, ow, like that hurts. Like so you have to listen to yourself. And if you listen to your gut instinct, as long as you're acting in it as a good human being, can you be wrong? Right. You can fail, you can make mistakes, but you can never be wrong, because so that's my challenge to you is work backwards from whatever your gut's telling you this is what I was born to do. I was put on planet Earth for this. And if it takes you 30, 40 years to finally get, who cares? Knock on wood, you're going to wake up tomorrow and go back at it. So it's like, I always look at it as the next 5 years are going to go by, I might as well make them count. The next 10 years are going to go by, I might as well make them count. So has this helped? Do you feel like you could apply this to everyday life? All right. Have I preached enough? When I was your age, we had gold. So, very cool. Any questions for me before we completely wrap up?
What was you said ego is the...
Ego is the enemy.
By who though?
Ryan Holiday.